You are now tuned in to the GNWY podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the GNWY podcast. Do not forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, do all the things so we can be able to get people's stories out more effectively. And today we have none other than the man, the myth, the legend, okay? Cyrus Mills, everybody. So if you can, give a warm welcome to Cyrus Mills, everybody. What's up, man?
What's up,
It's good to see you, dude. And I know we already talked about this. But tell the people what this ring is for.
This is a Texas A&M
Because you look like a pimp with it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's a class ring from Texas A&M, class of 2010.
Let's go.
Yeah, so
That's my graduating year, so.
yeah, from high school.
Yeah.
Baby.
I am, yes.
Only a few years ahead of you.
Yeah.
So Texas A&M was started as more or less an academy for the cavalry in 1876.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, so with that being said, they still have these military traditions, right?
Yeah.
They still have the ring, the boots, the saber. They still have the cadet program. I got to do all of that in college. It was a blast.
Yeah, man.
And so, that was what I did instead of going to school with all my friends. I went away and tried to get my butt kicked. It was
There you go.
It was a lot of fun.
It's worth it, man,
Yeah,
to
it
get your
is.
butt kicked every once in a
It
while,
is.
right?
I signed up for that bullying. I did sign up for that one.
Yes. Excellent. I wish that there was like a class that we could just sign up for. I want to get bullied, right? So I don't know. They should be out there. But man, tell us a little bit about, for everybody that doesn't know who Cyrus Mills is, tell us a little bit about you, man.
Yeah. I born and raised in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Graduated from Edmond North High School. Went away. Wanted
Shout out
to,
the Huskies.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to the Huskies. Balto week, I think, just ended.
Yes,
a few weeks
sir.
ago. I wanted to be in the military my whole life. I didn't. Before we get too far into this, I did not serve in the military.
Yeah.
There are many reasons for that, but everything I did up to the age of 22 was geared towards preparing for that. So I went to a military college at Texas A&M. I served in the Cadet Corps, did the ROTC, got to do a bunch of high-speed cool stuff.
Yeah.
Got school paid for, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, as I was finishing that up and injuries and other issues came about that didn't allow me to serve, I got a job at a wine bar. And I figured, well, it's better than pouring shots for, jerk kids.
Yeah.
And professors tip better.
Yeah.
It's a little more reputable.
There you go.
And I kind of like wine. Yeah, it's classy, right? And so I got this job at this wine bar. A month or two later.
And that was here in the city?
No,
or?
that was in College Station, Texas.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm still in
Yeah.
Texas at this time.
Yeah.
A month or two later, a guy comes in and says, "Hey, man, you're pretty good at this. You should be a sommelier." I was like, "Cool." And that's kind of where the conversation ended. Like I talked to him a little bit about the wine he drank that night, and then I went home and spent 45 minutes figuring out how to Google the word.
And you didn't know anything about wine at all?
I had no idea what it was. Well, other than working at the wine bar, right?
Okay,
But I didn't know anything.
Right.
I just knew. I knew what a Moscato was.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it was from or why it tastes the way it does or any of that.
Right.
So I get this job, and this guy tells me go look this up. So I do. Like 2 or 3 weeks later, I signed up for my entry-level sommelier exam, and I passed it. And I was like, all right, cool. And then
I know some stuff.
Yeah, I know some stuff, right? So I did that for about a year. I moved back to Oklahoma, and then 2 or 3 weeks after I moved back to Oklahoma, I became the sommelier at Vast, the restaurant on top of the Devon Tower.
Yeah. How was that height?
The heights, yeah. Okay, so we need to establish I'm a climber, and heights aren't a problem for me.
Right.
But it was fun on a windy day when that place is shaking.
No.
Place shakes on a windy
that's
day.
fun. That's insane.
A little bit of sarcasm.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So I was the sommelier there, and I didn't know. Am I allowed to cuss here?
Go for it, man.
I didn't know jack shit about what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grasp the concept. I'm at this point a certified sommelier, which is a level 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
And really like
halfway there.
Yeah, right. It seems like that.
Yeah.
And just every day like learning something new, right? And so and then I go visit my brother in Boulder, and I stayed with him and ate at a restaurant that changed my life, Frosca Food and Wine in Boulder, Colorado. So shout out to them.
Yeah, let's go.
I worked there for about 5 years, and it was owned and operated by a master sommelier, and that dude kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Right? And it didn't matter if it was just basic hospitality, table maintenance, or if it was round table blind tasting.
Yeah.
I was a pretty quiet guy when I was there, so I don't know if they know the impact they had on me, but it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came back, I was able to open my own restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. I know that's a long way to get there.
No, you're good, man. I think the first time that I met you, man, we were doing an event. I think it was that fundraiser, right?
Venue 102, yeah.
And that's your venue,
Well,
you and your wife.
It's the wife's venue.
Shout out to Andrew.
I'm the head janitor over there. Shout out to Andrew. Yeah.
Yes. And y'all have a beautiful spot, man.
Yeah.
And we're not even gonna get into the other one yet. So let's go into you've got that. Hang on. This is where we met.
Yeah.
So we met here at your venue 102, right?
Yes, sir.
And I was blown away by I just thought that there's some raggedy shallow or silos,
Yeah.
right? And then we walked in and it was like this beautiful spot.
Yeah, the chandeliers and all that.
Yeah, man, you've got a dope spot. So
yeah, she designed it.
Good work. Good
Anne
work.
built it. She and I built it. So it
That's
was fun.
crazy.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
Oh gosh, 2 years, something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, 18
Okay.
months.
And then how do you even come about getting into the silos?
So I moved back from Boulder.
Should have gave you a mic too, huh?
In 2016 to run this restaurant.
Yeah.
And when the restaurant, when we first walked through it to see it with our landlord, there was a building in back, and it was for lease too, and it was affordable. And Andrea and I were in the process of planning our wedding, and so we were like, well, why don't we just do a wedding space? It's easy money.
Right.
It's not. So it's definitely not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts to events like that.
Right.
That take a lot of resources.
Yeah.
As we came to find out, but we made it through COVID. We survived.
Yeah.
We're still here, and most of that's thanks to her. So.
If anybody survives COVID, we're survivors.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
definitely.
Yeah.
So even through that event, beautiful spot, all this kind of stuff, and you were even during that time, even sharing a little bit about your story on how you even connected with even Generation Y's mission. You know what I'm saying? And so, tell us a little bit about that, man. Like where does that whole thing come from?
I think you guys were doing the Y Fight collab back then. And I had heard about that from Justin on Joe's podcast.
Okay.
And when he was I'm working with a philanthropy out of Oklahoma City, I immediately reached out.
Yeah.
And was like, hey,
I'm here.
I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I have a space. I don't have any money because everything I have is in this new business I just tried to start.
Right.
But we have a space, and we want to do our part. So can you use it? And I think Jim Stewart came out and saw it and loved it.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got connected with you. And then
Yeah.
you and I made buddies through that event.
Yeah.
And here we are, still reaching out every now and then,
Yeah,
hanging
man.
out when we can. And
Definitely.
yeah. So that's
And
how it
you're an
all-
inspiration through that whole thing, man. And so just seeing everything that you've done, and then both of you and your power team, we're gonna call y'all power team, being able to do your multiple businesses that you have, and then you went from not only 102, but now you have Farmer's Grain.
Yeah.
So tell us about Farmer's Grain, dude.
Yeah, so the original reason or the main concept there was my brother is a chef, and I am a sommelier, and the two of us are equal partners in this restaurant.
Yeah.
He in high school went to culinary school. That was always been his path. Mine was a different path, and then found wine. But he has always been a chef. He's phenomenal. He's incredibly talented. His food is awesome.
He is. For everybody that doesn't know, you need to go to Farmer's Grain.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I think a cool thing about that is we both left, right? We didn't stay in the Oklahoma restaurant scene. We didn't stay. We got new styles from new places, and that's starting to happen more. More people are coming back from that were born here and then went away and then came back. But it still needs more of that. Not that there are bad restaurants here. There are a ton of great restaurants here. But with us leaving and finding someone else's, seeing someone else's approach to things kind of helped us create our own style.
Yeah.
Instead of taking and mimicking someone else's, right? And so we got to create our own and come back and do this. And so he does the food part. I do the wine and the hospitality. And it works like a dream.
Yeah, man.
So.
And tell us about the experience, though, because I feel like Farmers Grain is not just like a show up, get seated, that thing. You guys have legit a whole experience, even from the food, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a European aesthetic, right? My entire career in the industry or in the service industry, I've heard people brag about, talk about, and share excitement from being a part of going to a restaurant in Italy, right? And they're in some little village, and they go to this local osteria, and the chef invited them into the kitchen, and it's just the best food they ever had.
Yeah, and
it's great, like a great experience. They spent the whole time without looking at their phone, other than take pictures, maybe.
Right.
The point of their meal was that they were a family again.
Yeah,
right? But you go to restaurants here, not all of them, but more often than not, what you get is everyone's on their phone. You want your food quick. You want to get in, get out, and get on your way.
Right.
It takes less than an hour to eat at a restaurant in most places.
Yeah.
Especially, that's a United States thing.
Right.
We don't eat like a family. And so our approach to this was, okay, how do we do a great neighborhood restaurant? How do we do something that's relatively affordable? I mean, all things are expensive now.
Right.
Thank you, COVID. But
shout out to it.
Yeah. But with that, how do we make that European aesthetic? What is the things that work so well over there that we can still do here? That is locally sourced ingredients. That is everything's made from scratch. Right. That is replacing silverware and share plates and wine glasses, refilling water. It's table maintenance and attention. The hospitality of it is just it almost feels like fine dining, but it's not. Right? There's no white tablecloth. There's no stuffy server. But those steps are still there.
Yeah.
It's still treated as if you're in a special place doing a special thing.
Yeah.
You're on a vacation when you're in the doors of the restaurant. And that's the most important thing, right? Is hospitality. The end of the day, why does Payne cook his food? Why do I serve the wines I serve? Why do we make the cocktails we make? Why do we go out of our way to give these people this experience? And hospitality is the name of the game, right? We're not in a time and a place where we should. A lot of chefs today are really about themselves. They're Instagram chefs. Great.
Right.
There's plenty of room for it, and I know there's a ton of influencers out there that are doing phenomenal jobs as being an Instagram chef. But if you own a restaurant, you do not have the luxury of being an Instagram chef. You are there to serve the people who come in the door, and that's how we treat it. Right? We're there for our guests. And it works. Yeah. Imagine that, right?
right.
It actually
you doing
works.
it right actually works.
Yeah. And one of the best compliments we had was from a local chef, Robert Black, who's phenomenal and renowned in the area, right? And he said that we've managed to find a balance of fine dining and casual atmosphere, and that's the point. Right? Yeah, it's not really. There's no white tablecloths again, no stuffy servers, but it's that I'm going to replace your fork when it's dirty, right? I'm going to refill your wine glass. I'm going to get you a new cocktail when you're done with that one. Yeah, right. Those things are really simple. It takes a little bit extra time, but we're 6 months old and have pretty good reviews for the restaurant because of that. Yeah, because we take that extra minute to take care of people.
Yeah, so. That, as you should. My wife is very specific on hospitality, and she loves your spot. So completely different from whenever we went to somewhere, anywhere else. Yeah. And so for real, man, you have that whole experience. I know that we know each other, so we were really talking. Yeah. But legit, I seen you go from each table and talking to each person. I was like, dang. So what is there anybody else doing? Well, let this guy work, Yeah. And so I was blown away, man, by seeing your whole experience. So that. Yeah, man, and all of the plates and everything had its own vibe, and art that was in it, and I was like, should I even touch this? You know what I'm saying? I took a picture of every single one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, that was. And does your brother like come up with the concepts of it? Or?
He does. So what he does is he'll write a food menu.
Yeah.
We're changing our whole menu on the 21st.
Okay.
So he writes his food menu and then he sends it out to me, and I start pairing wines with it, or cocktails, or spirits, or beer, or whatever the dish needs. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Some things don't necessarily need wine, and some things, don't need anything. But he'll send me the dishes, and then I go through my little library in my head, and then I start looking for, like, what are those things that are going to fit and pair beautifully and perfectly with this dish.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I go online and I look for what's available in our market.
Yeah.
And then I buy those, put those on the list, and that's how it works. So
that's awesome.
It's a cool little team. Knowing his palate and having the two of us work together is what makes that work so well.
Yeah,
It's a little unfair, right? Most restaurants, it's a one-man show.
Right.
It's either the chef or the owner making these calls.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have the luxury of I have half, he has half. And, I mean, we're still incredibly busy, incredibly spread thin, but there's no way we could do the level that we do if it was just one of us.
Right.
So, yeah.
Whenever I was at y'all's house not too long ago, we had a conversation of who was the better chef.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say that?
I'm not going to go there tonight.
Oh, man. Oh, goodness. Okay.
No, I think my brother is a phenomenal chef. And
he is. He's amazing.
He can command a kitchen, but I cook at home better.
Yeah.
Than he does. So
there you go.
See how that goes.
And you're a great chef too, man. I mean, from the time that we were at your house too, like it was.
I dabble.
Some bomb
I've
food,
got a
man.
Traeger. It's kind of cheating sometimes.
Okay,
So.
I got you. But you're amazing, dude. So even your knowledge on even the wine stuff is mind blowing to me, because like you can smell the stuff and know where it comes from.
I got lucky. I found the thing I love
really
early on.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't get trapped in the idea that you have to go to school and then get your master's and then get a PhD or then follow up with some business, school, whatever it is. Those are great.
Yeah.
But I found really early on, I didn't want to do that. I want to explore something new.
Yeah.
And I was a sommelier before being a sommelier was cool, right? Like,
right.
About 6 months after I became a certified sommelier, actually a year after, this movie comes out, a documentary called Somm, and it's about these 4 guys going through the process to get their master sommelier certification.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's great. But after that, there was a lot of people signing up for the program. That may or may not still be in the program. So.
Yeah. So they made it cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it everything has its day in the sun, and chefs used to be the only rock star in the industry, and now you get bartenders and sommeliers and all kinds of major D's that really are changing the way things work.
Yeah, that's what's so. Even when you talk about like because whenever we talk all the time about your knowledge on this stuff, where did all that come from? Did you take the trip over and like learn it all, or just
I haven't
researching?
Traveled that much. I've traveled a little. I try to go every fall and make wine. And as of late, I've been in Michigan, and that's a cool little rabbit hole we can go down in a minute. But yeah, I try to get my hands dirty. I try to get the dirt and the grape skins on them. I want to know, certain bacteria strains. What do they do? How do they affect? Right? If I've got this yeast strain going with this grape, it works this way. But if I throw it with this grape, it doesn't do that, right? And what it opens up the door for phenolic bitterness or unpleasantries.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to have the foundation that I spent years building of the theory knowledge, right?
Yeah.
The stuff in the books, tasting the wines, blind tasting, all that kind of stuff, and then getting to put that into use.
You've done the blind tasting?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Are you? Were
I
you
should
good?
have told you. I should have had you pick something up.
Oh, are you good? Like you can tell it straight out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
But that's a I don't want to call that a party trick.
Okay.
But it can be if you're good enough at it.
I've seen your party trick though. You popping the bottle off with the with the knife.
Oh, with the saber, yeah.
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 Oh, that was a saber?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
That was my cadet saber from A&M.
Nice. Yeah.
Really
Really showed that ring was boss.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the world of wine is huge. And every sip, every look, every smell narrows it down a little bit. And then it tells you where it's from. And it tells you what it is. It tells you how old it is. It tells you the grape and all of that. It will tell you the story if you know how to listen. And that's the trick, is you got to know how to listen. I'm sure there's some correlation with some anti-bullying stuff there too.
Man,
right?
I was about to say, keep going.
Well, I think there's a meditation there, right? And in whatever you do, like a lot of this, and that's a great question. Where did you learn all of it? I don't know. Right? I've done this for 15 years. I don't remember. Like it's there. And I know it's from some conference or some roundtable blind tasting or some master sommelier I got to hang out with, or buddies. You know, we're over at someone's house and nerding out on like a bunch of random weird wines. All of that culminates to this brick of knowledge that I have that, just answers pop up. And, you know, there's an element there that's like, there's a bit of imposter syndrome because one day someone's going to come in and ask me something I don't know the answer to. Yeah. Right. And it sounds arrogant to say it from that perspective, but with the restaurant having been open, and me really challenging the public and our guests with what they're willing to drink and what I'm willing to pair foods with, that's a really deep pool, and I haven't found the bottom yet. Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool to be in my mid 30s and then have this craft that, and by no means have I mastered, but that I can. It's really deep.
That's what I was gonna ask earlier too. Like, what level are you at in the?
2.
Okay.
But I went through the 3rd program, and that I'm not good at written tests, so I failed that. But the blind tasting and the service, I've always been excellent at, phenomenal at. And I have no idea where that comes from. I just know it's there.
Yeah,
right? So,
you got a good nose, then, man. That's insane.
Well, my brother's a chef. You know, the palate thing runs in the family. Again, where that comes from, I have no idea. We grew up eating out of can or box or fast food. Like it wasn't like we grew up eating great food. And
right.
Like drinking great. My parents don't drink.
Right.
Like I didn't drink till I was 21. I was a good kid.
Yeah.
But it's there. And it speaks to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wild to see, like, somebody that like knows nothing about a certain topic, and then legit finding their passion through that. You know, like that's a wild thing to me. Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, this world is full of anything and everything, right?
Well, even wilder.
Yeah.
The reason that happened was I was trying to impress a girl.
Hey,
on a date.
Let's go.
And I told her I was into wine.
Yeah.
And here we are. The girl's not.
The girl's not. Right.
That was 15 years ago, right?
That's good.
But the wine is still there.
Yeah.
And
I bet she'd be impressed now.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
You know, but it could be one of those people who doesn't even care. A lot of people come through the restaurant and they're like, I like this, and then I try to soften them up and see where it's at, but a lot of people don't care, and that's great.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like as long as they have a good time, that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's even crazy to me, like how you know what certain thing will pair with certain things as well. Yeah. Like that, I feel like there's so many, like it's a whole art in itself, but like that's a whole separate thing.
That's both art and science, right?
Yeah.
Like when we're breaking down things, and there's this quote that I read long ago. It's from Miyamoto Musashi. Know the way broadly, and you'll see it in all things, right? So if your thing out there isn't wine, if it's woodworking or leatherworking or plumbing or bricklaying, whatever, man, like go for it. But for me, this was the thing that I found young that I could just break down and then see the way broadly, right? And so to get back to the wine thing, there's these elements of science of acid and tannin level and sugar level and how much oak and malolactic fermentation or these processes that happen in the time it goes from this little berry on a stick to this beautiful juice in a bottle. And that is where the science is, right? But when you taste it and you see food, think of gears on a bike or gears on a watch, right? They circle and they fit together.
Yeah.
You have to find the right size gear for the right other piece.
Yeah.
Or is it a Phillips head screwdriver and you've got a flathead, right? Like those things are important. And I think that having that approach really helps, to pair wines, to pair spirits, to pair beer. It's a puzzle piece every day, right? What is the food doing? What is it saying? And what is the wine saying? And can the two voices be two different characters in a novel, right? And that's what we want.
That's so dope. That's crazy, man.
It's
a science, man. I know. I mean, I think it's so interesting because some people just need to hear the science of it, because hearing it from somebody that's passionate about it, aside from somebody that just like indulges in drinking and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's different.
I'm not really a big drinker. Like, to be
Really?
totally honest,
Yeah.
We probably open a bottle of wine a week.
Yeah.
I taste a lot at work. It's part of the job, but I've never been a big drinker. It's always been a small taste here and there. It's always been about the flavor. It's always been about what is that? It's a curiosity. You know, I don't like the feeling of intoxication.
Right.
But I do love the curiosity of the flavor.
That's dope.
So.
And earlier you were talking about Michigan,
Yeah.
and you were talking about that being a rabbit hole, and you and your wife brought back some amazing cherries.
Yeah.
Okay. And for one, they need to come back. Okay. I don't know if you got any more, but
I'll get you some,
those are bomb. And isn't that where Andrea's from?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So what keeps going you, aside from family, obviously, but what keeps you going to Michigan?
So 2020, I think September of 2020, we were at my sister-in-law's wedding in northern Michigan, and Andrea. We took a whole week off. The wedding was only like 2 days, right? And after that, she's like, "Hey, got a surprise. We're gonna go up to wine country in northern Michigan." And I was like, "Oh, that'll be cute." Like that was it was like a bless your heart moment. Like,
right.
But and I knew she knew better.
Yeah.
But I was curious what her angle was.
Where it's
and
going.
I don't think, but I really don't think she realized where that was going to take us, right? Because since then, I've been trying to figure out how to become a part of what they're doing up there also, right? Like that's my next phase, right? Is to figure out how to make that a more established place for what it is.
Like a partnership with these people?
Well,
or
not
like,
really.
I say these people like they're
you get
out of country or something.
people, sommeliers and experts in the industry that are expert on certain regions.
Right.
And if I found my region, right? I found my place that I want to become an expert at. It's in a very adolescent phase, and there's a lot of growing to do, but the soil's good, the fruit's good, and the winemaking's starting to be very good.
Got you.
It's not everywhere, but there's enough really great wineries up there that it's like, wow, like why is no one paying
And what is it?
attention to this?
What makes it so good up there? Evolution,
yeah, all of that, right? So let's talk about terroir, right? Terroir is a French word that means there's not really a translation in the English language for it, but it's basically the microclimate of the grape.
And you said terroir?
Yeah, Terroir. Yeah,
okay,
terroir.
Got you.
Or terroir.
Terroir.
Yeah, and so up there we have Michigan's shaped like a mitten, right? And so you Traverse City and above is the Leelanau Peninsula. I think you guys have done some stuff in Traverse City.
Yes, sir.
So about 20 minutes north of there.
And Beulah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On the Leelanau Peninsula is a really cool spot that at the end of the Younger Dryas, or the last ice age, it dumped a tremendous amount of sediment that is very mineral rich, and not minerals in like, gold and nickel and that kind of, but minerals in like granite and this stuff that are really hard to grow things in, but grapes and orchards do very well in, right? So let's talk about this. You need some character for a wine to be good.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Vines don't do good in good soil. Right?
Okay.
And so let's relate that to people for a little bit.
Ah.
You got to struggle
Yeah.
if you want to be good at something.
Ugh.
You got to struggle if you want character.
Yeah.
You have to struggle if you want flavor.
Yeah.
Right? The best people have really rough stories.
Dark stories.
Right?
Yes,
but
for real.
But when you make it through that, you've struggled. You've gotten character. The Bible talks about...
If you make it through it, yeah.
Yeah. The Bible talks about, God is the vintner's hand and he trains the vines. Well, that's us. Right?
Yeah.
We're the fruit. We have to struggle. We have to have character. And so this area has a tremendous amount of really like sediment deposit, like really hilly, sandy, granitic, limestoney. Like there's all this really cool spots around there where different grapes do great on different hillsides.
Yeah.
Right. There's microclimates everywhere that are really cool for what they're doing.
Gotcha.
And then on top of that, it's on the 45th parallel. It's in a cool enough area. 45th parallel would be somewhere in par with central France. And so you get Burgundy and Rhone and all these really cool, great wine growing regions in France are on the 45th parallel as well.
Yeah.
So you've got this 45th parallel. It's off of two really deep parts of Lake Michigan, and that's to the west, and the wind is always coming from the west to the east there. So you get warmth off the lake. You get great soil, and you're at a high enough parallel that it's almost perfect wine growing region.
Dang.
For Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Riesling, Gewürztraminer, like really great, like noble varietals.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody paid attention, right? And so what has happened in the United States in the late 80s, a man by the name of Robert Parker comes along with Wine Spectator magazine, and he creates a point score. God bless him for it. He changed the wine world indefinitely for that, because housewives and college kids and plumbers, bricklayers, construction guys, anybody could walk down an aisle at a grocery store, a liquor store, and see a point score on a bottle of wine and think, oh, that's good. And it is. And they'll go home and drink it. The problem that happened that followed suit is the pendulum swung too far. Too many people started to make wines that would get point scores. They didn't have a marketing budget, so this is what they did.
Gotcha.
And so now you have a very linear, one-noted style of winemaking in a lot of places, on the West Coast in particular, and in the New World. A lot of that's terroir-driven. A lot of that is climate. But some of that started, they did it a little bit prematurely in the 90s so they could get good points. I'm a capitalist. Don't blame them for it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you have a place like the Finger Lakes in New York or Leelanau Peninsula in Michigan, you have these hotspots that nobody in the 80s and 90s was paying attention to what they're doing. They weren't getting point scores. I'm sure they'll have one or two that did, but with that, it allowed them to let the terroir speak for itself and the grapes do their thing.
Yeah.
And now they have this very unique, really cool, some mix of New World fruit with Old World build to their wines, and it's phenomenal.
And nobody could even tell the difference, though? Like, even with the label and not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah. There's less mushroom note, or a little bit more cherry note, right? A little. It depends. The Gewürztraminer is a little bit more on the sweet side. Baking spice is less cinnamon and less allspice, but more nutmeg and more, cardamom. So there's little things that you can tell. I can tell.
Yeah,
people who taste a lot of wine can
yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
But you have to, it is unique in that it does have its own terroir, but it is been unmessed with methodology. Right? They haven't approached it with, well, we're just going to bomb this and just pull as much sugar out of this as possible and see what it does. No one's done that there because they can't.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, so is your like kind of idea with Michigan and everything? Are y'all trying to do like a collaboration to where y'all are
see.
Partnering with the vineyards out there?
It's probably going to start with some social media. Working on that now, and then either like a blog report or something. And then what I'd eventually like to do is do an import wholesale where I put together a portfolio of the wines from that area, and then I sell those to other reps in other states. that sold into restaurants and liquor stores.
Right.
So
Got you. Okay. Do you ever plan on making your own?
One day, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a little risky.
Okay.
And do you know how you become a millionaire in the wine business?
Step on grapes.
You start as a billionaire.
Okay. Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
So, I don't have that kind of resources
Right,
to
right,
do
right.
that, but
Okay.
one day, yes,
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
That's awesome.
So-
Okay. What is your favorite wine out there?
Oh gosh, do you have a favorite kid?
Well, I only have one. So,
So
yeah,
you
I
do. All right.
Yeah.
Right
now. Yes.
It just depends. I've had some great experiences, man. I've drank thousands of wines.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a hard one.
What
to
about
nail down.
region? What is your best region for? Is that
I lean into
harder?
northern Italy and Spain a lot.
Okay.
Right. So if we go region, Barolo Barbaresco, Rioja, Friuli, and Rias-Baix.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay. Those are a lot of words that I don't really know. So I don't know if the rest of the, there's probably smarter people out there for sure. But yeah, that's okay. Cool. So even you putting together like this whole team of Farmers Grain, were you very selective on who you got on your team?
No.
Okay.
I wanted.
Got you.
I was selective in that I didn't want veterans.
Okay.
I didn't want steakhouse servers who had bad habits. I didn't want guys who'd been in the business 20, 30 years. I wanted kids who needed to make a little extra money, who were passionate about, they really like whiskey, they really like beer, they really like wine, and they had a lot of questions.
Right.
I can teach them how to serve a table.
These aren't kids for
well, no, mid-20s.
Yeah.
So not kids.
Over
Sorry,
21.
definitely over 21. Definitely legally can serve alcohol in the state of Oklahoma.
Excellent. Okay, good.
So,
just for the viewers out there.
yeah,
Size not serving. Yeah.
I call us kids, right?
Right.
We're like the same
Right.
age,
Of
so,
course.
as long, I'll be a kid till I'm 50. But yeah, I found a bunch of mid-20s, passionate, hungry.
Yeah.
You can't teach that, right? You can't teach someone who wants to learn something new.
That's real.
What you can teach is methodology of movement, replacing silverware, asking how was the meal, learning how to go fix it if something is wrong, right? Like you can teach that.
Yeah.
If you have someone who's been around for a long time and has bad habits, I'm sure I have mine, that they can just skip those steps.
Yeah.
And that's where the bad habits come in. And that's when you forget stuff. Right. Everybody who comes in writes everything down. I even write things down, right? I could do an ATOP with multiple courses without writing it down, but I don't like to. So I try to write everything down. And so that's an easy one, right? The rest of it is, hey, what is it that you love about this thing? Well, I really like how...
The why behind it.
Yeah, the why behind it, right? I really like how Prairie has done this with their beer, right? They added this flavor and they did this, and great, awesome. Can you sell that? Sure. And then we'll bring it on, right? And that's my team is very much, they have a voice in what we do as much as I do. Now, Andrea has the biggest voice because she controls the finances.
Of course.
But at the end of the day,
as the wife,
we call the restaurant the pirate ship, right? And be a good pirate.
Yeah.
Everyone gets their voice. Everyone gets to say.
Or you walk the plank.
Yeah, or you walk the plank.
Yeah.
We've had a few people do that.
So long.
But it's very much something that we do together.
Yeah. That's dope.
I listen to everybody.
That is dope. And you can tell that too. I mean, even by the experience that I've been to, man. I mean, your whole team seems like they follow your lead, but they also know what to do if you're not there, you know? Yeah. And so that's a beautiful thing. And that's why I was wondering if it was very selective, because it seems like you got a close-knit, family there. Yeah. And so I think that it's a beautiful thing that you've created. So it's dope, man.
It's cool to go from concept to like functionality and it actually works.
Gotcha.
And not because there's a bunch of places we consulted for before, Payne included. They're like, well, you can't do that. No one's going to drink that, right? You can't not have Chardonnay by the glass because you must hate making money. It's like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
If you find the right thing that fits the right deal, then nobody has any issues.
Have you had any backlash or haters or anybody that's like,
not really.
You're not going to make it, Si.
Favorite thing. Well, we have, but I won't. We're not going to go into that.
Hey, you don't have to drop names, man, but you can definitely say it.
We've had some interesting espionage, sabotage things happen.
Yeah,
but the other favorite thing here is that when someone walks in and they say, hey, I want a cab, I want Napa, this is what I want. I just say, okay, great, I'm not going to do that. And they get mildly offended.
Really?
It gets their attention.
Okay.
And then by the time they leave, they have had things open for them that they never knew were possible. And that's the point.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want you to be, I want you to be comfortable. All right.
Yeah.
I want the food to taste good. I want the wine to be good, but I want you to know that you're here to learn new things. You're not here to just get food and get some fuel and then go on your way.
Right.
You're going to remember having dinner with me.
That's dope.
Right? And that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't have a marketing budget, so this is what I have to do. So.
But for real, like if anybody goes there, they will definitely remember the experience, man. And
I try to touch every table.
That's a beautiful thing that you've definitely curated. So that's amazing. And you also do parties outside of the Farmers Grain too, right? Yeah. So you go out and do different tastings or experiences.
I do house parties, up to 15, 20 people, and I bring wine and we talk about it, bring a charcuterie and cheese board. And just like, some of the amateurs get 2 or 3 bottles in before they're done, but I usually bring 5 or 6 different types of wine. And then if there's enough people, it's not that much. And at the end of the day, it's a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah. So. And that's what's dope, that you're that open about teaching it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like hey, this is a nice wine. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Is you give everything about it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be closed off, right? Back to the construction guy, the blue collar guy should have the same experience in my restaurant as my mentors, as the guys who are masters of wine and master sommeliers. I may not have some of the things on the list that you can get in other places, but I've done that a little bit on purpose too, because I want you to try new things that are delicious, that aren't gonna break the bank. Right? Most of the list that we have is under $100 a bottle, and they're incredible. And I would put them up against some of the most expensive wines I've ever had. And any day, and they would beat them.
That's dope. That's dope. So you're also a fit guy, yeah? You would like to say so?
Used to be more fit.
Okay, well, I mean, aren't us? We are all, so I mean, that probably came from your college stuff.
A little bit of that college stuff.
Yeah.
I was a golfer and a wrestler in high school.
Shout out to the golfers and wrestlers. Yes.
And then Texas A&M. I wanted nothing more than to be a special warfare operator.
For real?
Yeah. In the Navy or the Army, didn't matter. I wanted to just kick indoors and go get bad guys.
Like a boss.
Yeah. Overtrained and had quite a few injuries. And so my contract, by the time I was graduated, was done. But that kind of left something in me, and so I needed a physical outlet as well as a cerebral. Wine definitely filled the cerebral outlet, but for the physical, I got into CrossFit, rock climbing, bow hunting, as much. I tried to push myself as hard as I could. I got a few more injuries out of that too. So
for real, okay. From doing what?
Just my shoulders are just torn up. Nothing. I haven't had any surgeries or anything. I probably need to.
Jeez.
But, just
you probably listened to David Goggins to get motivation.
Probably didn't stretch enough. Didn't do enough yoga.
Right.
Didn't warm up well. I just go in, grab a barbell, and start going. But when you're 24, 25, 26, that's what you do. When you're 30, you can't do that anymore. And I'm now 35, and so and not that I'm completely broken, but I just need to warm up a little longer than I used to. So,
That's
it came on quick.
You got a whole setup at your house too.
Yeah, we do.
It's wild.
We turned half the living room. It's all for her.
That's awesome.
I still enjoy ruck marching. So I put weight in a backpack.
Last time I was about to say last time I was at your house, you said that you'd be walking up and down the street with a weighted vest. Do people not question you?
Nah, there's a parking garage in Edmond now, so I've been going up on days that they're not working on it, up the
for real.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
But it's I love it. All right. One of the you need to stay fit, right? And owning a small business is very hard, right? And I fail all the time. I don't work out nearly as much as I want to, and the days I do want to, I got too much stuff going on. And by the time I do have time, I'm so exhausted. It's just hard to force it. But my wife is wonderful and,
Yeah.
and reminds me that I'm lazy and weak and fat. And so,
Does she say it like that?
not that way. I'm
She
paraphrasing.
does. She does. Yeah, of course, of course.
But
As soon as you walk in,
she does.
Sai,
Yeah.
get out the back.
Yeah. But she,
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
you know, we started in January, started rock climbing again, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we loved it.
Yeah.
And I dislocated my elbow right away, but hey, you know, it is what it is. So,
Dang,
yeah, I
man.
looked at yesterday.
You're really going
It's
in on
fine
these
now.
rocks.
It's healed up now, but it's one of those things. As you get older, you need to practice
Right.
those.
Yeah.
But you have to stay on top of what you enjoy,
Mm.
right? I really enjoy being on public land with a bow in my hand, climbing a tree and waiting for a deer to walk by.
That primal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you got to carry it out,
Yeah.
right? Of
course.
And that's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So done that a few times, and that sucks.
You just dragging.
Yeah. Well, I've learned now how to butcher pretty well.
Yeah.
And so I'll try to cut it up out and quarter it out in the field and then just throw it in the backpack. And which is why I do the whole rugby
You have
thing.
bags for this,
Yeah,
or are
they're
you
called
just
game bags. So
raw
it's like
dog throwing it
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
bag?
it's like a pillowcase.
I'm thinking just the
It's-
meat just falling out.
Yeah,
of
just
it.
blood just
Raw
squeezing
dog.
out of everywhere.
I don't. Hey, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, they're called game bags. They've
Okay,
got
good.
antimicrobial, like a bacteriosteric water.
I was
in
just
them.
tossed it in a
Yeah.
trash bag. Yeah.
No, but it does seep
Yeah.
out of the bag, so
Got
it's
you.
like a pillowcase.
Got
Yeah.
you. Okay. Wow. That's what's up, though, man. I mean, you probably come back though with some
Yeah, delicious
years
meat.
of meat.
Yeah,
That's what's up. What do you normally hunt though?
deer mostly.
Deer. Okay. Whitetail deer. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd love to hunt other things, but time and money and
Oklahoma doesn't provide anything besides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't afford 10 days in Colorado in a backpack yet, so we'll get there. But I got to work on it.
That's
so.
what's up. Have you ever gone like elk
I
hunting
would
or any
love
of
to.
this?
Would love to. But,
I don't think you go
but
moose hunting, right?
No,
It's just
you
elk.
can.
You can?
Yeah. You can.
He's about to start.
It's a gray
taking
area
shots.
morally for people.
Yeah.
But Alaska, I mean, there's plenty up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Alaska, Canada.
Yeah.
Maine. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Good moose hunting up there.
Got you.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to challenge myself every way I can in the outdoors. That's I love that.
Boar or anything?
Yeah, done quite a few of those.
Okay. Excellent.
Contrary to what most people say, I've never had a bad boar.
Okay.
Everything tastes delicious.
Yeah. Because you know how to cook.
I think that's part of it.
That could be a big part of it. Yeah.
Don't just fry it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Get a cookbook.
Throw it in the air fryer.
Yeah, get a cookbook and see how
Right out
see
of the
what you can
trash
do with
bag.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, that's hilarious. I was in Michigan 2 years ago. I was making wine up there, and my buddy, who's the winemaker, is also a big hunter.
Yeah.
And so we were hunting. I shot this huge whitetail on public land in northern Michigan, and drag it out. I don't know, a mile and a half, 2 miles, and it was like a swamp. So it sucked, man. It was
jeez.
terrible. So I drive down halfway to Detroit in this place called West Branch, and my brother-in-law has a hunting cabin like 15 minutes up the road. So he met me, and I gave it to him, and he took it home, and I gave him a piece of it, and I was like, cook this up, see what you think. And right away, I asked him the next day, he was like, dude, it was the best venison I ever had. I was like, what'd you do with it? It was like, well, we threw it through the tenderizer, and we flattened it out, and then we fried it. And we battered it and fried it. And I'm like, oh my God. I gave you a whole sirloin from this public land deer that's never eaten anything but acorns.
Yeah.
The meat is as purple as it gets, and it tastes like candy. And you fried it. And what the hell are you thinking?
Oh my goodness. That's rough.
Anyway, yeah. So most people probably do take that approach because it's what they're shown, and it's easy, and they have an affinity for it. But I would say explore, man. With all of it, just man, there's flavors out there you didn't know exist that you're gonna like. If you're a picky eater, I was too. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Try something new. It may lead you down a path you never expected.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
First glass of wine I ever had, I was 21. My dad said, it was my birthday. He said, what do you want? I said, glass of wine and a steak. Said, okay.
Yeah.
And my parents don't cuss very much, right? So
Yeah.
what's coming up is fun.
Yeah.
But so we go to dinner. I order this $14 glass of wine, $12 glass of wine. And at the time, that's really expensive.
Right.
Because if you're drinking $2 sodas your whole life, right? That's 7 times that.
Yeah.
And so I get this glass of wine, I take a sip, And my dad's sitting right across the table from me, and he sees the expression on my face, and he goes, "You're gonna drink every fucking drop of that." And my mom slaps him and says, "You don't talk to him that way. Just let him see." And,
Right.
And then the steak comes out.
Was he that angry, or was he just really
I think he was
stern about it?
Stern and frustrated. I think he was like, he didn't know.
Yeah.
He was probably knowing him now, like you get to know your parents better as you get older,
of course,
right?
Of course.
And you get to see their flaws and who they really are, and you can analyze like, well, they did their best, right? But some things they just weren't willing to go for.
Right.
So alcohol was not something we ever went for in the Mills household, right?
Yeah.
It just wasn't a thing. And so the steak comes out, I take a bite and then took a sip, and it changed. It was different. And the rest of the meal was just magical because of that one thing. Right. And it was so far out of the norm. I wasn't wanting to get drunk.
Right.
I saw that in the Matrix, and I wanted to know what that tastes like. So that's what I wanted for my 21st birthday. That's amazing. Right? Yeah. You know, when he takes them out to get the steak dinner, that's what I saw. And I wanted that to happen again.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, this is magical. And that put me down a path of, because then I would go on dates in college and tell girls like, I'm really into wine. And I didn't know shit. And like,
I'm really into wine.
Yeah. So here I am. And
Should have seen me on my 21st
really
birthday.
So it worked out. But don't be afraid to try something.
Yeah.
Like, don't try any like parasite-ridden like fish or something like that. But
Of course not. Yeah.
But if there's some new spice, some new wine, some new spirit, some new beer, if it's a new soda, if it's if you're not into hot dogs, like try a different condiment. Right? It doesn't have to be ketchup or mustard. You can try relish or mayo or salsa
or bratwurst.
Or bratwurst. Throw some barbecue sauce on that. See what happens. Right? Like it's okay to try new things.
I know what we're doing after this.
There you go.
Yes.
But food is made with love, right? And out of a factory, not as much, but there's still some. The more love you can put in the food, the better it's going to taste. Things aren't gross. Things are manipulated, and then they don't taste good.
Oof.
Green beans out of a can are disgusting, right?
Yeah.
But you want to raw dog that, like you were talking.
Yeah.
Throw some green beans on the skillet, right? Throw it in the Traeger. Put some butter and bacon in there.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yes.
And so don't be afraid of that ingredient just because you were presented it in a bad way, right? And that, we can talk
That's
about
a
bullying.
parallel, man.
Go back to people.
Let's go.
Don't be afraid of the people because they were presented to you in a bad way, right? Don't be afraid of what that person said because it came off wrong. They may have been in a hurry. They may have not meant it, right? It doesn't. There's a lot of that. The world's not black and white, and it's not gray. It's full of colors. Colors are complicated to talk about.
Yeah,
they're complicated to break down. There's too many ways. There's not enough vernacular to describe colors. Yeah, and that's what it's full of. Yeah, right. And so the whole it's a gray line. That's bullshit, man. And it's not true. Yeah, there's color, and you can't describe it, and that's okay. But it's also good to try to figure it out, right? And so. Yeah, for me, that's food and wine. Yeah, right. It's now owning a business. It's being empathetic to people that I normally would not have been before. And it works. Like, they work harder for me when I give them a vote, when I give them a say, when they show up late and I don't say anything. Yeah, because that's not important. If you can still do your job and you can do it well, that's what's important. Yeah. What do you need from me as a support element to do your job? Yeah, right. And that's what we try to do. That's real, man. So,
and that's what that goes down to the understanding of things. Yeah. And if you can understand where something or somebody has come through or went through or whatever, you start to be able to empathize for that thing or broadly, a person, man, or
and
whatever.
See it and everything.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. You brought it back around. That was good. That was good. I like that. Yeah. So even, I mean, you're hitting on it a lot. Even this whole concept of being an entrepreneur, right? Yeah. I mean, like, did you ever think that you would own your own business or anything?
I was wanted to.
Okay.
I was expected to.
Okay.
I was expected to try. Okay. Right.
From your parents or where was that from?
No, I from myself.
And yourself, okay.
I always expected myself to be my own boss at something.
Yeah.
What I didn't expect was for that to work.
Right.
So,
we all don't know if it.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I always wanted to swim up the grain or swim up the river, go against the grain.
Yeah.
I had buddies in college that always, join this club, do this thing, and some of it was really cool, high speed stuff. I just didn't do it. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And mostly because, well, it was full of kind of assholes or someone being political, or I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go over here and do this thing.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun. No one's being political over there.
Yeah.
Right. No one's causing problems. No one's doing things that I don't like. So
that's good.
there's well, yeah, it's good and bad, right? There's a lot of things I never finished because somebody upset me, and I was like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. You got to finish it, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you learn that as you get older,
Right.
Fortunately for me, it wasn't a habit to quit things, but at the end of the day, like, you've got to finish things. You got to see things through, and things grow. And I mean, with the restaurant, like, yeah, I'm gonna always be a part of it, but I won't always be there. I want to grow that and have other things go along too.
Yeah.
So
that's dope. So even on the mindset of an entrepreneur, does your mind ever stop?
No.
Excellent. We're not alone.
I've heard Elon say it. I think it was on Rogan. Like, oh, you don't want to be me. Like, you don't want to know what my mind thinks. And I get an element of that, and I'm sure his is way beyond what my mind's doing.
Right.
But it's man, I dream about work. It's not great.
Yeah. Man, I hear you. So we're on the right page. Yeah.
And I'm like, why can I not just take a break from work when I sleep?
Yeah.
Like,
but that's a good and a bad thing, because I mean, like, we're so passionate about certain things that it's like our mindset is consumed with our passion.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's dope, and some people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And with that not being understood, it's like, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't want to step into our mind at all.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, it would probably stress you out.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of ADD-ness going on, ADHD, whatever that is.
Right.
But I don't think that's a disorder. I don't think that's a problem. And for you guys listening out there that have been given drugs since you were a kid because this disorder helps you study, man, I'm sorry, because that's not how it should be. Right. I truly believe that it is a thrival, not survival, but thrival, I'm making up a word here, instinct to be distracted. Right. Because that's how we fed ourselves. That's how we protected ourselves.
That's interesting.
That's how we, like, you want to go back to caveman days. You want to go back to the ancient Israelites coming out of Egypt. Like, yeah, they had to be head on a swivel at all time. You want to talk about ADD? Like, that's it.
They were probably the ones inventing the wheels because they were so.
They were being hunted down by everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not allowed to go to the promised land for 40 years. So for 40 years, you're being hunted by every known other humans, and you have to survive. It pays off to do a task and get it done and go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Task after task after task after task. It does not pay off to focus on only one task and not be able to go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I do think that kids with ADD is natural. Kids with ADHD is natural. It needs to be fostered. It needs to be given the right fuel and aimed in the right direction. But it's not a disorder, man. Like, don't hurt those kids, right? Don't hurt yourself.
We label everything without actually having an understanding what it is.
Well, it's simple to wrap your mind around it. You don't have to, like, actually think about it, right? There's a label, you just move on. And
that's huge too. Yeah, that's a good point. That can go even deep. If we put a label on things just to move on.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what we do.
That's deep.
That's how we categorize stuff. That's why we have all of the issues with whether it's racism, sexism, whatever that stuff is. So we put a label on it so we could not have to think about it, and you just move on. And that causes problems. It causes huge problems. It causes bullying.
Causes division,
Division. And that's why we have war. It's why we have all of the things that are not good today.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, our ADHD mind just got us to hear from a question about entrepreneurship.
There you go.
That's wild. Yeah, man. That's real. So, yeah, I mean, did you know that you were an entrepreneur from the beginning?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Okay. But you knew you were going to own your own business.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Dad had a business. He's a teacher. Mom was a teacher, but Dad built decks on the weekend. Uncle Dave mowed yards. I've
got an Uncle David too. Yeah. That's crazy.
My mom, I always saw my parents hustling to make ends meet, right? Teachers in Oklahoma don't get paid a lot. So whether it was teaching swim lessons or building decks or doing roofs or outdoor kitchens, whatever it was, I always saw my parents putting in extra work, and they were working for themselves.
That's dope.
So I think there's an element there where I say it was expected. Like, it's kind of all I saw. I never understood never saw well, my dad works for a big company and makes good money, and like, this is the one thing we do. And so for me, it's a very foreign idea.
Gotcha.
But even in college, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do the thing I want to do, and screw whoever. Like, you're not gonna force me to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. That's kind of how my parents are too, because I've seen them. It was more along the aspect kind of like serving other people, and so, but they served other people through other avenues. Whether my dad, he can build anything literally, and so he would be helping other people with their stuff, all that kind of thing, and then my mom would be doing the same thing, and so that work ethic is really kind of what drove my entrepreneurship as well. So
it's the American dream,
man.
Right?
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurship and the American dream are pretty much the same thing, right? You just need a chance. You need to find your chance, and no one's gonna give it to you. You gotta kind of create that.
Yeah.
Right? I got lucky that my dad was ignorant enough to the restaurant business to support my brother and I in starting this venture. He's a partner with us. Yeah. Because he owns a construction company that built it. And that was dope. That we had to. We couldn't afford to not do that.
Yeah.
And so that was now we worked for him and we did the actual building.
Right.
But,
of course.
But you get contractor pricing at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it works out.
I mean, I've even seen you in that building working, like putting in work to build the thing too. Yeah. So I mean, you literally put your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. I bet.
Yes,
so
lots of that.
That's amazing, man. And you hit it on the head earlier when you said you never imagined that it would work.
Yes.
When did you come to that moment of like, oh, this can work, or it's gonna work?
I'm still coming to that.
Okay.
I've tried to push that away from the reality of the situation.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to get to my head. I have this. Right. I have this really, like, there's this fine line of like confidence and arrogance that is it can be easily crossed in the industry that I'm in. Yeah. Chefs, sommeliers, people with egos, right? And you kind of have to have a little bit of an ego to be confident enough to have all this, right? Like, you need to be. If you were to bring a glass of wine in and just put it down in front of me and say, "Tell me what this is," like, yeah, there's some ego there that I'm gonna be able to get it done. But that's how I get through it. But to keep that in check, I can't let success get to my head, because then I get arrogant. Right, and not confident anymore. Seeing it work has been a surprise, but I want it to stay a surprise. I don't want to get used to it. Yeah. And the reason I say it's worked is, I mean, we're 6 months old. We have only good reviews. People come back. We have regulars. We had regulars 6 weeks in. That's beating the statistics, and we've beaten them almost every step of the way. That's cool. For restaurants. That's good. And so to say it works, that's what I'm talking about. Right. But that's a really complicated. Right. Break that down. Yeah. I don't want that to get to my head. Gotcha. Every concept that ever works I just want it to always feel like right on that edge of maybe not making it, because that's where you keep driving forward. Yeah. And that's when you keep succeeding. Definitely. Because if you get comfortable, well, then you get fat and lazy and weak. And I already have enough of that. So.
No, man. That's what Andrea tells you. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, for real, man, I really do appreciate your time, dude. I appreciate this talk. It's always good. For one, to chop it up with you, and then obviously to get your story out there, man. Yeah. So I do appreciate it one more time. If you want to tell everybody right here, where they can follow you at for any updates or anything like that, go ahead and tell them where they can.
Yeah, you can follow me at CyrusJock2010 on Instagram. I've got new social media coming out with with the wine stuff. The restaurant is the Farmer's Grain Kitchen and Cellar. That's on Facebook, Instagram. I don't think we have a Twitter. Yeah, come by the restaurant, come see it. We do wine classes the end of every month. It's called the Cellar Sessions.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When did that start?
January.
Okay, got you.
You guys should
I was gonna say that's a whole new thing. So.
Yeah, it's a whole new thing.
Yeah, wow.
Look out Farmer's Grain Kitchen and Cellar on Instagram. That'd be great. I'd love for that. So
this really just got me on a whole nother thing. But you actually just did tell them about the UGK event that you did.
Oh yeah, back in December.
Yeah.
So we did a dinner at the
It was
event
a
center.
whole nother tangent. Sorry.
No, it's
we
all
were
good.
about to wrap up, but there you go.
So I got to help with some wine pairings, with some beverage pairings for that. That was a pretty cool event.
Yeah.
There's some guys in this city that are doing some really interesting things and pushing the boundaries on what's capable with food and wine and hospitality, and it's good. It's good for everybody.
Culinary arts, man. Yeah.
I'm excited for all that. A rising tide raises all ships, so I'm trying to help as many of those as I can.
You just dropped a bar. Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
A rising tide raises all ships.
There you go.
So,
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Cyrus, thank you so much, man. One more time. I appreciate you. Be sure to follow him on anything and everything. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Don't forget, write, rate, review, subscribe, share, do all of the things as you can so we can get this story out more effectively. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.